This is your weekly briefing from Pursuit Magazine, brought to you by PI Education. I'm Hal Humphreys, your host, coming to you live from the world headquarters here at PI Education in Nashville, Tennessee. I do my best to stay informed about current topics. I've pretty much stopped consuming news for the past several years, save a few trusted sources. I get my daily dose of deadline dispatches from outlets with stringent editorial standards. I do not watch television news. I do not listen to radio news. I read local, national, and international long-form narrative journalism from authoritative sources, outlets that have, as I said, editorial standards and, more importantly, accountability. Usually, if I'm in the car, I'll listen to audiobooks, fiction, spy stories like the Slow Horse series from Mick Herron, or plot-driven mystery crime narratives like those amazing novels from Don Winslow. The Dawn Patrol is one of my all-time favorite PI novels. My pal Pam Koloff suggested I check out Bone Valley, a true crime podcast. Now, I don't usually listen to true crime. I get plenty of that on a daily basis, but I trust Pam. I tapped open my podcast app, found Bone Valley, and pressed play. I got stuck in. I could not stop. Bone Valley is produced by Lava for Good. It's reported by Gilbert King and Kelsey Decker. I urge you, find Bone Valley and give it a listen. It's elegantly reported, and it's devastating. It's November 30, 2022. Tomorrow starts December, which leads up to the consumer fiasco that causes good humans to turn ill-tempered. In an effort to save you some frustration navigating the mall, the big box retail store, those insanely long checkout lines, I have a few suggestions for you today. Gift ideas for that private investigator in your life, that journalist in your life, that spy curious person in your life, the one who dreams of being a detective. My first suggestion is subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out a great deal. My second suggestion is check out Pursuit Magazine. Pursuit Magazine is a journal for private investigators. It's all online. Everything is there, ready for you to see and explore on your own. There are all kinds of tips and tricks for private investigators. I really suggest, if you get a chance, go check out Pursuit Magazine. Again, that's pursuitmag.com. My last suggestion, my third suggestion, is a simple one. Shop local. Go to your local baker and buy a baguette. Check out your local bike shop, your local shoe store, your local bookstore. Here in Nashville, we have an amazing independent bookstore, Parnassus Books. That's where I'm going to buy all my gifts this year. I'm going to show you some books online. You can get them all on Amazon, but do me a favor. Buy from your local bookstore if you can. There's a good chance you can find any and all of these in your local bookstore. Barring that, go to the author's website. Order from there. I'll also share a couple of ideas that you probably won't be able to find in a local store. If you can, go to the manufacturer's website and buy direct from them. So here we go. Gift ideas to fuel your spy-curious urges. My first suggestion on the book front is any of the Slow Horse novels by Mick Herron. Mick Herron's books are fun, they're spy thrillers, they're crazy interesting. There's even on Apple TV a new series starring Gary Oldman as the main character in the Slow Horse series. Check it out, I promise you're going to love it. My second suggestion is Don Winslow. Now, I mentioned The Dawn Patrol as one of my favorite PI novels. I'm going to tell you without hesitation. This book right here, California Fire and Life. It's one of my favorite novels of all time. I love the book. It is fantastic. It is a really good look into the work of an investigator. If you're a private investigator, I strongly suggest you pick up a copy of California Fire and Life, give it a read. It is so much fun, and there's some really good illustrations of proper, detailed, methodical investigative work in this book. My third book suggestion is a book by R.J. Jacobs. R.J. Jacobs is a local Nashville author. Always the First to Die is his first book. He's got another book out that I think you might enjoy, Somewhere in the Dark. This is reviewed in Pursuit Magazine. Again, go to pursuitmag.com, check out the review, get a copy of his book. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And again, Always First to Die or the other one that I just showed you, either one of those would be great. And again, go to your local bookstore and buy the book. If you can't do that, go to the author's website and order it through there. The next couple of suggestions are things that you're not going to be able to find at a local store. And these are not sponsored. Nobody's paying me to say these things. I just think they're so useful for private investigators. And I'm going to give you some suggestions now for the private investigators in our world. If you do surveillance work at all, and you don't have a Psionics night vision camera, there's a really good chance you could be accused of malpractice. Seriously, these cameras are fantastic. They're full color night vision cameras, and the detail is amazing. The power of the lighting these cameras is amazing. Go to psionics.com, SIONYX.com, and buy one of these cameras. If you do surveillance work at all, this is a really handy tool for you to have in your kit. The next suggestion I have is an online resource for private investigators. It's IDI Core. If you go to ididata.com, right there, if you go to ididata.com and you're a private investigator, you will have access to one of the most powerful databases out there. Pro tip for my journalist friends. I know that a lot of my journalist friends spend a lot of time doing research. If you're trying to locate people to talk to as a journalist, IDI has a journalist portal. You can gain access to the database. It will cut your time significantly. I've worked with a couple of podcasters over the years and worked with them on finding people, and I've suggested on a couple of occasions that they subscribe to IDI Core. They have done so and really found it incredibly useful. ididata.com. And then the last thing I'm going to share with you that I think is really important, Bone Valley, the podcast. There are some podcasts that I think are just necessary for people to hear, and Bone Valley falls into that category. If you're a private investigator, go listen to it. If you're a curious person about the investigative world, go listen to it. If you're just a human being who is interested in criminal justice and fair applications of justice, go listen to this podcast. It is devastating. It is beautifully reported. Bone Valley, whatever podcasting service you use, find it, download it, listen to it. You will not be sad. Actually, you will be sad, but you won't be disappointed in the storytelling. It is amazing. And that's your weekly briefing from Pursuit Magazine, brought to you by PI Education. I'm Hal Humphreys, your host, and now a brief shout out to our sponsors.